Though only about 100 in number, this is one of Australia's most significant sheep flocks. These sheep are descended from fine wool merinos that arrived from Tasmania in 1840 with the Dennis family, who later built this stately bluestone homestead in southern Victoria. But they're not merinos, they're Polwarths.
Tim, we're at Tarn Warncourt, which is an Aboriginal word that we understand means up and down like a bandicoot running, sort of referencing the hills where we are. And I guess why it's interesting to sheep breeders is because of that birthplace, let's call it, for the Polwarth sheep breed.
Australia's first breed of sheep, and it all started with the Dennises in 1880.
There's even an impressive monument here that marked in 1980 the breed's birth a century earlier. The Grand Home also reflects Australia's wool boom from the 1870s, mostly from valuable merino fleece. But for Richard Dennis, Tom's great-great-grandfather, growing fine wool here was a challenge.
The merinos weren't suitable for this part of the world. They got fleece rot, dermatitis, bad foot rot.
Here in southwest Victoria, it's a pretty typical winter's day. The sun is barely poking through the low cloud. It's cold and damp, and it's the very reason why this breed of sheep was developed.
But that bit about water collecting in the fleece and not being able to expel was problematic, and so that's the problem that they sought to fix by crossing it with the Lincoln.
This is the extraordinary-looking Lincoln, an English breed dating back to Roman times. Ray Christie from southwest Victoria keeps a small flock of them. Ray, this is what a Lincoln called Abraham.
Yes.
Can you just show us the wool quality?
Okay, so the Lincoln wool should be a big, broad, lustrous. They're a luster breed.
Wow.
Should be a broad lock, not like the finer wools that are just beautiful soft fibres. This is not soft.
It's silky, isn't it?
It's
really
very silky like human hair. It's very greasy, high lanolin content. Will grow an inch a month. These guys are sitting here at 6 months of wool only.
These greasy woolen dreadlocks grow up to 25 centimetres in a year and act as a rain repellent, a fact not lost on Richard Dennis.
Which Lincoln's a very long, very lustrous, really long and lustrous, very broad wool. But that was a pretty radical change.
So they crossed the Lincoln with the merino. The first cross is a Corriedale, and of course everybody knows that's New Zealand's first breed of sheep. And then they crossed it back over the merino, so it's 3/4 merino, 1/4 Lincoln, bred to a fixed type called a Polwarth. Originally a Dennis come back, but Polwarth after our electric.
At the annual Australian Sheep and Wool Show in Bendigo, the once common Lincoln is now listed as rare, alongside other heritage breeds. Lincolns also gave rise to the Corriedale breed, another merino offshoot, developed in Australia and New Zealand around the same time as the Polwarth. By the early 1900s, both breeds were widely exported, especially to colder climate countries.
Today, Taiwan Court Homestead looks out over improved pastures typical of southwest Victoria and of Tasmania, and the breed is also well known all over Australia and in India, Pakistan and particularly South America.
Into the Falkland Islands, a little bit into America, a little bit overseas to Europe.
Polwarth numbers peaked nationally in the 60s at about 8 million, at one stage comprising more than half of Tasmania's entire sheep flock. The breed remained prominent until the 1970s, when better-bred merinos began to overtake it. By then, the Dennis family's traditional white wool flock was taking a U-turn, pun intended, away from convention. It coincided with a boom in home crafts and natural wool products.
When, it was popular to have a naturally coloured hand-spun jumper.
Strictly for sophisticates, a flaring black and white chevron wool coat.
And everybody was spinning white wool, and I thought, under the shower, I thought, well, why don't I breed coloured sheep? Because it's already got a colour, you don't have to dye it, no chemicals, breed them. So I rescued a few sheep out of the killer paddock, ready for Sunday lunch.
Dave Dennis well remembers Wendy's eureka moment.
People are starting to spin coloured wool. I'm going to have those killers, you can't kill them. So then it started.
Wendy acquired more coloured sheep from other Polwarth breeders and gradually bred this recessive gene into becoming a dominant one.
It's a natural coloured wool. It's not only black, you can get in shades of grey up to sort of blue-greys, and it's a natural colour which doesn't need dyeing, so I think that's probably why it's more interesting than just plain white wool.
Mum probably brought into it an entrepreneurial spirit as much as a kind of artsy craftsy kind of vibe. I think she mashed the two well together.
The rise of coloured sheep, namely anything other than white, was anathema to Australia's conservative wool industry. White wool dominates because it can be dyed to make fabric of any colour.
And the outcome of it was we need to stamp this out. We are not encouraging any of this black wool development, regardless of all the loveliness about it. We need to shut it down.
All over the globe, spinners and knitters love Polwarth wool. At the sheep show, the Dennis family's trade stall is one of the most popular.
It's the kind of trade show meets hanging out with all of your sheep breeding buddies, you know, sheep nerd fest in a way. But for us, it's about sales. It's communicating to our customers that have used our fibre and have said, you know, this is what I did with it, and you can see what your wool has turned into, and that's really gratifying.
And it looks beautiful. It's so stunning. The autumn alpine.
Okay.
It's similar to this. Yeah.
What we hear from them is that they like the fibre length for spinning. It's not too short that it's hard to spin, but it's not so long that it might give out on some of the handles. So it's still quite soft to use as a spun yarn.
And this was inspired by a photograph taken from the International Space Station.
It also has a compression or springiness, a desirable quality for non-crease, easy-care woolen garments, such as high-class suits.
It's just a dream come true because it's got that extra length of staple length, which is much easier to spin. It's got a good crimp, which makes it a little bit more elastic. And it's got a demi-luster from the Lincoln, which makes it shine a tiny bit. And it's so soft from the merino, so it's a great combination for woolcraft.
The family exports yarn to a range of countries.
The point is that I just love sheep, I love wool, I love craft, I love travel, I love family, and the whole lot comes together.
There are now only about 30 registered Polwarth flocks in Australia, including that of the Potter family, who farm not far from the Dennises. These Polwarths, the conventional white wool variety, are originally descended from the Dennis flock. These are some of their finest fleeces, lustrous, soft-handling wool in the 21 micron range.
Being a longer, straighter, more aligned fibre, it makes it easier just to peel the wool out and spin.
The Potter family processes its wool locally. Valuating their Polwarth fleeces is critical to their bottom line. Samantha shares her father's passion for Polwarths.
We have a lot of pride in that, and it gives us satisfaction as farmers to see our products being used more in a local kind of a setting, and it makes the hard yards that you do and that once a year shearing where, you know, you shear all the wool and you're seeing it coming off the sheep and how beautiful it is. It's a lifetime of breeding.
Some of their wool also ends up here, a burgeoning carding and spinning business near Ballarat. Nick and Isabel Renters had alpacas, but soon discovered there was nowhere to process their wool. So they built their own mill and recently upgraded it to a solar-powered off-grid version.
We get the fibre comes to us after it's been scoured and made into tops, and we spin it into yarn so it can then be sold into the craft market.
A market increasingly eager for all natural fibres.
We have our own yarn range where we use predominantly merino and we blend it with alpaca fibre, so we use the natural colours of the alpaca to create new colours. Really, really exciting designs coming out, a lot more stylish as well. It's a huge international market now, and yeah, it's growing. And from a natural fibre perspective, there's a big trend certainly getting away from synthetics. They're all looking for natural products where they know it's sustainable, it's ethical, traceable. They're all really important to people now.
But wool growers across the board are under pressure from high production costs and low returns. Wayne and Maxine Walker shipped their prize Polwarths from Tasmania for the recent Sheep and Wool Show and won most of the prizes in a year when entries were at a near record low.
We're down a bit in numbers because it's a bit droughty and a bit tough for a lot of people to get here, and the costs are getting dearer and nothing's getting any easier. We've had a lot of spinning weavers here today just wanting to look at the sheep and look where the wool comes from. So I'm quite interested in buying it direct off the farmer. So
there's concern about the future of the Polwarth breed.
It's a tough road, and our numbers are getting smaller. Our passion is getting, battered from all the things we've got to do. It's hard to keep that enthusiasm up. Our daughter Sam is sort of one of the younger group coming through.
For the breed in general, and probably the Polwarth Association, they're definitely at a crossroads. We're struggling to get new breeders and have the sheer number of sheep that you need to continue having the gene pool and keep the breed going as well.
An easy care, low maintenance breed, Tom Dennis believes is one of the Polwarth's biggest virtues. It doesn't require mulesing, the controversial surgical operation to stop fly strike.
So there is that sort of opportunity to sort of carve out a small niche in terms of the ethical background to the fibre.
Drawing on the family's large archives, Tom Dennis is setting up a mini museum at Tarwin Court to better tell the Polwarth story. It'll show the passion, foresight and innovation that created the breed, qualities still vital to its future.
These days we need to tweak again and make sure that we've got yarn in front of people that appreciate Australian grown, Australian processed, good ethical standards and those sorts of values that people want to buy into when they're purchasing yarn.